بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. We continue in our readings in Kitaabus Siyaam from the book Bulugh al-Maram min Adillat al-Ahkam by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala, explained by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala. And we are moving on to another hadith. Briefly tonight discuss this short hadith and a little bit of the understanding of it, a little benefit from it in this little short time. And that is under the issue that Ibn Hajar he brings, the hadith on the issue of the ruling of the one who makes himself vomit while he is fasting. من استقاء وهو صائم. And this hadith here عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من ذرعه القيء فلا قضاء عليه ومن استقاء فعليه القضاء. In this hadith here, collected by of course Ahlul Sunan, as well as the collection of hadith of R.E.D.A, the Sunan of R.E.D.A. This hadith Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala in which he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said that whomever is overtaken by vomit while he is fasting, then he does not have to make up that fast. He has not broken his fast. Whomever is overtaken by vomit, then he doesn't have to make up that fast. وَمَنِ اسْتَقَاءَ فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاءُ. And whoever makes themselves vomit, intentionally or intentional vomiting, then they should make up the fast. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, in explaining this, going on to mention the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam concerning فَلَا قَضَاءَ عَلَيْهِ, then he doesn't have to make up that day of fasting, or does not have to make up that fast. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he says لِأَنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِإِخْتِيَارِهِ, because this was not by his own choice. He did not vomit based upon his own choice. وَلَكِنْ لَوْ أَنَّ هَذَا الرَّجُلُ الَّذِي غَلَبُهُ الْقَيْءُ وفرغت مئدته من الطعام والشراب ولو أنه أنحقه الجوع والعطش وخاف على نفسه من الضرر والهلاك يجوز أن يأكل ويشرب لدفع الضرر. He says, but this individual or this man in which he was overtaken by vomiting, and that which was in his stomach of food and drink had become emptied, or his stomach had become emptied from that which was in his stomach of food and drink, and he became hungry and thirsty because of this. So he vomited up his food, he vomited up his drink. And as we know from experience, that vomiting normally causes a person to become what? Dehydrated. If this happens to an individual and they fear upon themselves some type of harm, then it is permissible. يَجُوزُ أَنْ يَأْكُلْ وَيَشْرُبْ. It is permissible for him to eat. It is permissible for him to drink in order to keep harm from himself. He says, وَيَكُونُ إِفْطَارُهُ هُنَا بِالْأَقْلِ وَالشُّرْبِ لَا بِالْقَيْءِ الَّذِي غَلَبَهُ. So the breaking of his fast here will be breaking of his fast by way of eating and drinking, not because of the vomiting, not because of the fact that he was overtaken by vomiting. So from this we see that the person that is overtaken by being nauseated, as we say, and he vomits, and this is something that does not break his or her fast. What about the wudu though? Does it break the wudu? You say no, Sheikh? Why not? قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم يتوضأ كما جاء في حديث. The Prophet ﷺ, he vomited and then he went away wudu. Right? So that says that because of this action here, as we get from the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ vomited, then he made wudu. قَالَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ ثُمَّ يَتَوَضَّأ. He went and made wudu. So this breaks wudu. Right? This is a dalil. Right? Shaykh will say, no, there's no dalil. Right? إيش القاعدة? What is the qaida? Why is it not dalil? Some ulama, it is dalil.
Wasn't because maybe he might have also break his wudu by one of them.
طيب مجرد الفعل لا يفيد الوجوب. Just the mere action of the Prophet ﷺ doing something does not necessarily necessitate that it is an obligation, unless there is another thing that has come with regards to adillah or dalil to prove that. Although some of the people of knowledge, they use this as, they make istidlal with this hadith that vomiting breaks the wudu. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he says briefly, وَمَنِ اسْتَقَى, but the one who vomits intentionally, causes themselves to vomit, right? Causes themselves to vomit, فَعَلَيْهِ الْقَضَاء, then it is upon them to make what? To make up the fast. To make up the fast. And he gives a point here, he says, عَلَى here min أَحْرُفِ الْوُجُوبِ, that the harf here, or the particle, عَلَى فَعَلَيْهِ, this is from the particles of kalimat that causes wujub, or shows that something is an obligation, from amongst many of the different terminologies that are used to show that something is an obligation, right? Alaykum bi sunnati. Alaykum bi sunnati. Right? Means it is obligation upon you to follow my sunnah. Wa sunnatul khulafa ar-rashidin, to the end, right? He says, فَعَلَيْهِ قَضَاء, then from that which is obvious from this is فَظَاهِرُهُ وُجُوبُ الْقَضَاء, is that from the apparent wording of this text is that making up this fast becomes something that is wajib. أي قضاء ذلك اليوم الذي استقاء فيه, that the person must make up the day in which he vomited, he caused himself to vomit on that day. He says here though, what are some of the things that will cause a person to vomit? Whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, what is something that will cause a person to vomit? Right? He says a person can cause himself to vomit بالقول والفعل, by way of statements, by way of speech and action. والشم والنظر, by way of smelling something or seeing something. So a person can hear something, cause them to vomit. Right? An action could be done in front of them, cause them to vomit. The person can smell something, cause them to vomit. The person can see something, cause them to vomit. He says, وَبِالْقَوْلِ, as for, by way of speech, of hearing something, that it could be something that a person speaks or he's talking about of things that are makruha, things that are distasteful. Things that are distasteful, or as we can say in our lingo, things that are gross. Something that we say that is gross, and it causes the individual to vomit. It causes the individual, it upsets the person's stomach, it causes the person to vomit. Smell, a person can smell something, and because of this smell, he smells it and it causes them to vomit. Right? Some people smelling vomit causes them to vomit. Right? It has a bad smell. Also looking at something that is kariha, looking at something that is gross as well, something that is distasteful, disliked, can cause a person to vomit. Also by way of action, the person yadkhulu, a person can put his finger into his throat, right? Or a person can press their stomach so severely, or someone else can do it, that cause them to vomit. Tayyib. And a person can also, of course, as we mentioned, they hear something that is gross, that is distasteful, and it causes them to vomit. Al-Muhim, أن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يعين أداة الاستقاء. In this hadith, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he did not specify anything that is used to cause the fast to be broken. It's in general. Bal, he said, man istaqa, whoever causes themselves to vomit. بأي سبب يكون فعليه القضاء. By whichever means that he has caused himself to vomit, then he must make up this fast. From the benefits of this hadith that we take from this hadith is أن الاستقاء مفسد للصوم. That is something that breaks the fast. Causing oneself to vomit is something that breaks the fast. He says, secondly, also is حكمة الشارع في أنه ينبغي للإنسان أن يكون مع نفسه عدلا في معاملتها. Also, we see from this, or we get from this, the wisdom of the legislation, in such that it is befitting and appropriate for the person that he is just with his own self in his actions and the things that he does to his own self. Because the fasting person, he's fasting ثم استقى بقي بطنه خاليا من الطعام والشراب. A person vomits and his stomach becomes what? Empty of food and drinks. This is not just. It's a person not being just to himself, doing this intentionally. والشارع أمرنا أن نتصحر ليكون في بطوننا ما يعيننا على الصوم. And the legislator, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, has commanded us to make sahur or eat sahur, so that our stomachs will not be empty and it will be something to assist us and aid us in fasting. ومن فوائد هذا الحديث ومن فوائد الحديث أن ما غلب على الإنسان من المحظورات فلا أثر له. That whatever overtakes the person, right? The person is overtaken by of something that may be from those things that are prohibited, that a person should stay away from. And this is something that will have no effect upon the action of ibadah in and of itself that they are doing. You understand? So if the vomit overtakes a person without his intent, then this is not going to affect his worship whatsoever. We'll end with that one, inshallah ta'ala, tonight, from those benefits of this short narration. So we understand from that the hadith is authentic. It's been authenticated by Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala, and others. But from the point of the hadith is that if a person vomits unintentionally while one is fasting, they don't have to make up the fast. If a person makes themselves vomit, then they have to they have to make up the fast. Likewise, a person vomits, he has to make wudu. Sah? Right, Faisal? You shook your head, yeah. MashaAllah.
No, he doesn't have to.
Okay, why? Hadith sahih.
Yeah.
Hadith sahih.
Well, because there is no evidence to show that he really did it because of that reason. I think at least not to observe that he did it.
You sure?
From where I sit right now, yeah.
MashaAllah. Barakallahu fiik. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
Brother had visited us from Gambia.
From Gambia?
Ali.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. أهلا ما شاء الله حياك الله.